So do this.
Computer.
All right,
Okay,
so
sounds good.
I'll get you the recording. It's on my computer.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, buddy. All right. And we should be ready to go. Sharing group. Okay. Actually, I think I am in Workplace and not on uh Facebook. Hold on one second here.
I can look and see.
It says to the meta, I have to actually click on Facebook. I just think meta as Facebook. All right, give me one second. Um, how right. Let's go. Here we go. One second.
You're on
Go.
Facebook.
Okay. Okay. All right, just got to make sure I got my volume down. All right, we're ready to go. All right, Facebook Live, we've got two killers for you guys today. I'm the moderator. So we are going to cover how you double your production at eXp in the first 12 months of being at eXp. Or actually, in this case, I think Sheena was reproducing during that first year, so it might be how to more than double your business, but it might be more than 2 years. My name is Rich Tomasini. I've been here at eXp for 6.5 years. I've gone from selling 35 transactions to over 13,000 transactions a year solely because I am not walking up the staircase anymore. I'm walking up an escalator. You go a lot faster. I teach at least the agents that run with me a little about linear income, which is commissions. We all know that business well, trading time for money or trading knowledge for money, but always tied to time. We try to build here at this company a leveraged income where you can earn stock at the company. You can build out teams that actually function, unlike these analog teams that they taught us at all these other former brokerages where the team model doesn't work and you lose your best agents and the ones that you wish you would lose, you keep forever. We've all been through that stupid tax of creating a team that doesn't work. And then last bit of it, we work on residual income, which is how to get paid while you sleep repetitively. And we try to make it as passive as possible. So our two guests here today are two people I know pretty well. Sheena Shaw is an agent that actually is in my little market here. She lives in Troutman, one town north of where I live in North Carolina. And Sheena is a business owner. She owns, her and her husband own a few bars, and she owns a laundromat that is not yet repurposed for doing laundry. And she also is a killer mom of two little girls, Ezra and Sage, and sells a ton of real estate. Actually, coming into this call, as hot as she's ever been. She went under contract on a $5.5 million property and got another $2 million property going up. So she did more volume this week than many people do in a year or a lifetime in the business. So we caught Sheena kind of rocking and rolling at a very good frequency. On the other end, we only have two agents on our panel because these two require a little bit more time. They do business sort of in the outlier program. Julie Younger is in Portland, Oregon, right? Is that right, Julie? And Julie was a contractor and got our license to help complement other businesses and then blew her business up. And one thing you know about Julie, if you're at our company, is that she is a very spongy student and teacher, both. To be a really good teacher, you have to be a really good student. So that's how I had a suspicion that she was a good teacher, and she's just proven that through and through. So we're going to get into a little bit of your backgrounds, guys. I think it's very important when you're doing something like this to tell a little bit of a story. The way that I entered real estate was I had terrible grades in high school. I went to college because that's where the sheep were going into that pasture. I flunked out of college and I had no other option but to do manual labor or learn real estate. So it was a very easy decision for me. For you guys, it might have been a totally different type of experience. So Sheena, how did you get into the business and when?
Hey everybody, how are you? Um, so I've been in the business. This is my 10th year. The reason I got in was because I knew I was going to be having children. and I wanted to be able to be at home with my kids and still make money. And so basically I started out at Keller Williams. I learned a lot there. And then I went to a smaller brokerage after that. And then when I was going to have my first baby, and then about 5 years in, Rich called me up. I was going to start my own brokerage, I thought. And he said, "Hey, let me sit down with you." And then I was pregnant with my second child. And so basically coming into eXp was like double your income, double your kids at the same time. And oh my gosh, I got lost, y'all. I get so nervous on camera. It's
No,
crazy.
don't you worry. So when you first came over, you were having Sage, and it wasn't the
Uh-huh.
easiest part because I remember seeing how uncomfortable you were throughout that. But
Yeah.
you didn't necessarily double your business. You came in with what kind of production, roughly?
Oh, okay. So I right before I started with eXp, I was at 6 million.
Okay.
And I did about 20 transactions. So that ended up being about 300,000 per home, we'll say, per unit. My first year in with eXp, which would be my 7th year, I was having my second child, and I've noticed every time I have a baby, there's like a baby hump I have to get over. So I would say my second year with eXp, which would have been my 7th, 8th year, would be I was at 10 million. So,
All right.
and then I did 10 million 2 years in a row. And then just last year I did 16.5 million, which was 40 homes around my price point. I mean, I had higher homes, lower homes, but if you average them together, it was 400 to 500 per unit. But then also while I've been here, I grew a team, or self-organized team slash brand. I like to think of it more as a brand, although the public might look at it as a team. And we have 8 members, and we're only about 2 or 3 year old team. And we have went from no name to #1 in Statesville for transactions in 2023. So we're #1 team there, and then top 10 in Iredell County. And I'm hoping this year we're gonna maybe be all around Iredell County #1, hopefully. And then also I am now working on bringing my price point up, as I joined eXp Luxury about a year and a half ago, and have sold 2 homes at 1.3, 1.525, have one listed at 2.49, and one under contract for 5.5. So this has been such a blessing to me and my family. And of course, it's all because I want to be able to be with my children and get time back with them and provide a life and generational wealth. And anyways, and the best way I've done that is literally plugging into all the leadership at eXp. I've joined the Icon series. I watch all the Icon series. I'm involved in mastermind sessions. I'm in Family Tree. I go to all the events, the eXp regionals. I literally, knowledge to me makes me better, and eXp is top heavy with leadership. And that's what's 100% taken me everywhere I am now and where I'm going.
Very good, Sheena. So true. So, you're a competitive athlete. You were a pitcher in softball. And one thing I've noticed over 46 years of observations is that competitive athletes find their way to the top in everything they do. So anyway, I see that spirit in you. Awesome. Don't be nervous. You did great. Julie, tell me when you got into the business and how.
Well, first I want to say, Sheena, softball is my favorite sport too. I was a fast pitch pitcher, and I played it year round. So yay, we have something similar there. Well, we have actually listening to you, we have a lot similar. So I actually used to own a boat dealership, started it with my credit cards back in 94, and then in 2004 I got divorced. I got bought out of that, and had to figure out what I was going to do. So my father was in construction all my life, building homes. So he told me, you should get your contractor's license, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I know enough. And he goes, no, you know more than you think you do. So I got my contractor's license with the blessing of my father. And my stepmom was selling the homes my dad was building. And so in 2006, I was like, well, I want to do that too. So I got my real estate license in 2006 in Oregon and Washington to sell the homes that I was building. And in 2010, I branched off onto my own when I was able to do that, because here in Oregon and Washington, you have to have three years back then to be able to just be on your own. And I really didn't get my license to go out and sell real estate. I was doing it to save myself some commission and you know, have it all in house. And who better to sell the house than me, who I know how it's built. I mean, I built it. I know how to sell this house. So that's why I did that. So in 2010, I branched off on my own, Julie Younger Realty. I had many people want to hang their license under me, and I said, no, I do not want that headache. So I did not go there. And then in 2018, I actually was interested in buying investment properties because, you know, passive income and residual income is definitely something that was interesting to me. So I took a 3-hour CE credit class, and it was on investment properties, and it was live and in person. And I ended up coming home from that and told my husband I was going to move my license to eXp. You should have seen the look on his face. He was like, why? You don't share your commissions with anyone. And I'm like, because it's not about the money. I said, I am a jack of all trades and a master of none. I said, I want to focus on one thing and be really good at one thing. I want to go where there's technology and collaboration and community, and I could feel it here. And so I moved my license in November of 2018. And so that's when my mother-in-law took us to Mexico, and we ended up I didn't really focus on anything. I put my feet in the ground in January of 2019 and said, okay, this is it. It was a mindset change for me of some sort, and almost like a midlife crisis or something, y'all. I'm 54 years old now, and I don't know. I was like, I have to do something good. I have to prove to myself that I could be good at something. Because I mean, I'm okay at many things, but I really had something inside of me that I really needed to light on fire. So I started journaling. I went to I went to a real estate 101 class inside the world on Sunday nights at 6 o'clock. That was an amazing class, and I learned that journaling was something that I should be doing. So I started journaling January 1 in 2019, and I have not missed a day since. Not one day. And I have stacks and stacks of these notebooks that I've been journaling with. And yeah, so I went there, and I really have read some of those journals back, and it's amazing how much I've changed since then. But I really just started plugging in to what, you know, the whole community of eXp has to offer. And I do want to also mention one thing. I was only selling 1 and 2 homes a year when I came to eXp, and the first year that I came here, I sold 18 homes. I sold 18 homes and 7.4 million in sales. And I just completed my 5th year here in 2023. And I sold 32 homes this last year and 20.2 million in sales. And again, it's the community and the people and the training and the rooms that you plug yourself into. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's awesome, Julie. A couple things that are pretty awesome. You know, I always think about independent brokerage owners are always like, oh my God, I get 100%. Why would I ever go to make less percentage? And I'm like, well, Julie gets 100% too. They just call her an icon award and they gift it back in stock. Same with Sheena, right? So that's one way to look at it. Second of all, it's like for sell by owners are like, oh, I don't want to pay 6% commission. Well, then give your house away for 14% less than market value, right? And renegotiate 5 different times throughout the process. So it's nice to be able to see sort of, you know, through the trees there and be able to start understanding that sometimes it's a short-term step back to make more money, and you have to do that and your husband supported you on that. I know he supports you on everything. So that's awesome. All right, so listen, Sheena, let me ask you a question. Everybody's like, okay, I came over to eXp, my numbers went up. And I'm like, well, that's great. In 2020, everybody's numbers went up. In 2021, everybody's numbers went up. Like, I don't know if that's a parallel thing to come into the company, even though both of you guys predate that. What exact resources did you use at this company that you were able to tactically put into motion and generate more GCI?
Ooh. I mean, I hate to go back to this, but I mean, for me, it was there were so many different leaders at eXp doing different things that I was able to take pieces of people that I was able to mastermind with and come up with something that helped me in 2023, which was I started a YouTube channel, and I focused on lifting local businesses in the area. And I feel like a lot of my videos, I thought were going to be bigger on YouTube, but they actually became bigger on my Facebook platform, which that's where I get a lot of my business from, is from social media currently. And like I had one video that got shared like 300 times organically. And so I would say, from being able to learn from the leaders, that helped me to develop a creative plan for myself and branching my brand out and lifting a community through through YouTube and videos. That was a huge help for me in 2023.
One of the things that I think that we do a good job on is not selling clothes off the rack. Everything's tailor fit to what you guys like. And one of the discovery things that we had with Sheena, when I mean her and I sitting together at a table, was that Sheena is an extremely powerful marketer. She's got a very good marketing style, and her husband's a very talented guy. He's very charismatic. I think he ran for a political office out there, youngest guy in the ticket. And anyway, these two are a power couple, and their skill sets are complementary to each other. And once we started getting into the sort of like the natural ability of her marketing skills, then we were able to lead generate in a way that wasn't so taxing on one's soul, like prospecting and door knocking and converting FSBOs and expireds, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say depends on what part of the journey you're in at the beginning. And I feel like this is with anything you do. You have to do things you don't want to do to get where you want to get. Okay. And so in the beginning, I had to do the door knocking, the calling, the expireds, the open houses, the working with the clients that maybe weren't so nice to me. I had to do all of that in order to be able to get where I am today. And while I was doing the things I didn't love to do, you know, nobody loves to cold call. I was also building my future version of me, what I actually enjoyed doing, which was I love marketing. I love lifting a community. I love lifting my team. And I love doing it creatively. And eXp allowed me to have no ceilings and be as creative as I want to in my own lane.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's a lot easier to promote community and the town that you love and the people that you grew up with than it is to do the Don King self-promotion where you see on Facebook all the time, like, oh, I sold a house in 4 days. Yeah. So what? So we're all selling houses in 4 hours, 4 minutes, right? And then it's also so easy to see on social media. I can get you more money in less time and all of these gimmicky type things. I always preferred it when I saw a real estate agent out there that was talking about things that drove them versus just talking about yourself. I think you've done a really good job on that personally.
Well,
So
and I think also, like, when I looked at people in the community and other businesses, I looked at them like our family, and they're just a family trying to make it here too. And let's just all lift each other, and there's power in that.
yeah,
So,
and Alliance of Small Business Owners has really generated a big network for you and fuels that. Julie, when you came over and started to compound and scale here and sell a lot more real estate, were there any of the actual resources that we have here that you can attribute to your volume going up? Obviously, you've already mentioned the fact that we have no charged education. We're all collaborating as shareholders. So you get in rooms that you could not get into before or not want to write a check for. Was that the primary piece of it, or were there other things?
Yeah, so For me, I mean, when I came over here, I was a secret agent. Nobody knew I was an agent. I mean, if you were to ask me back then, what did I do for a living? I would tell you I was a general contractor because I thought that was like, big
Sounds
deal.
good. Yeah.
Right, sounds good, right? No, I mean, I was a secret agent. So I really put my head down, and where I'm a little different than Sheena is I really didn't do anything I didn't like to do. I didn't cold call, I didn't call expireds, I didn't door knock. I actually I really just, I mean, oh my gosh, you see these spiral notebooks? These are notes from the classes that I took in the world. I mean, you guys, this is serious stuff. I probably could sell this. I don't know. But I really dug into all the training. And the best part is I went to a book club like with Sylvia Dana, who was this big gal here that was KV Core guru. I mean, she was doing a book club at 6 a.m. my time here. I would get up every Friday morning and go and help. I was attending this book club in which she then later, because I was like the only one that was showing up every single day. So she asked me if I would help moderate. So I took all the notes for the books and then I would send them to her and she would put them on a PowerPoint. And we did that together. And we did The Miracle Morning and Think and Grow Rich and The Go Giver and all these different books. And the best thing is I started actually implementing the things I was learning, because that's key. Because if you're just reading a book, they're just words, unless you're going to actually put them into place and take some action. But I also, my favorite class, you guys, and it's still going on to this day, is iConversations. I think Sheena actually spoke about it. It's at 8:45 Pacific in the morning. It goes for an hour long, and it's top producers on a panel that get asked a bunch of questions about their business and how they got successful. But not only that, but what their failures were. So I get to learn from them so I could fast track and not do maybe some of the things that they made mistakes on. I actually would open up my mic and ask questions. And if I really related to some of them, I would go seek them out on Facebook and send them a message, ask them if, a few questions further, or if they even wanted to meet for coffee. And they would, every one of them wanted to meet me in the world in as an avatar. I was like, well, I've never done this before. This is kind of cool. But I mean, everyone is just willing to help. And then just this last year, y'all, I actually got asked to moderate the panel, and that was a huge honor for me. I actually had to go back and watch, because these iConversations are on YouTube, so you can watch them. And I was going back and watching the ones that I watched back in 2019 and 20, where Hank Avink was the moderator, and that was all kinds of fun. There was
Hank keeps you on your toes. You can't mess with that.
Anyways, so yeah, so for me, it was that learning.
All right, so I got two things on that. So first of all, for just to define some of the terms that you guys are hearing, iConversations are icon agents that are teaching back in the world to help retrieve their cat back in stock. Half of it you get immediately, the other half you have to do a couple of things in order to get it back. So that's how we're able to keep our education for free. We take the top producers, we put them into our training module, you learn from them, and then they earn the other half of their stock back. So so that's how it works. So it's just a play on the words. Second thing that you said that I thought was pretty interesting was that, like, I don't know if you could see, but Julie shows up pretty hard when she shows up, right? So that kind of like indomitable spirit and perseverance has been how I've gotten to know her, because she's not in my organization, but she's in my life because she shows up in such a way. That spawned this curiosity, which is not supposed to be part of this call, but what are the boards behind you? Walk us through that real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'd love to. Okay.
All right.
So I'm a visual person, and like I told you, softball is my jam. So these boards back here, this one over here on the left is a baseball diamond, and on the right is people on deck. It's people that have told me that they're thinking about buying or selling. And then as I get them through the transaction, I put them. So these are my listings right here. These ones have, actually, these ones can move here because I heard that we're already past appraisal. This one came in today, 5K over appraisal value, so that was good. All these are moving on to closing to get across the plate. This in the middle is how many deals it took me to cap with my company here at eXp. And then they go over here. All of these, you guys, are all the deals that I've done since I have been with eXp. And actually, they have moved over to the overboard over here. You can't see because there's no more space. So I actually started going with the little smaller stick-it notes. But
What's the top right board?
that's my revenue share. That's my revenue
Okay.
share. Those people are in my organization. The blue on the left is people who named me as their sponsor and supporter, which I'm so honored and blessed. And then of course the green is the second and third, and then down here is people that have recently come over and people that I'm in conversation with.
All right, so for any of you guys that feel like that's Mandarin to you, it's because you're working on solely being the technician in your business, which is how do I get more people that are going to buy and sell houses through me? Nothing wrong with that, right? What Julie just showed you on the board, and that wasn't a set of question. I had no idea what those boards were in the back. They just looked interesting because they were colorful. Was she's working on the technician side of her business. eXp manages the whole mess of it. And then she's working on the entrepreneurial side of her business, which is growing an organization to where you can get paid on transactions that you don't personally participate in, right? So it's a pretty cool thing. Really cool, Julie. Awesome. All right, Sheena. So let me ask you a question. Like, for the audience, the viewing audience, this is odd because I wasn't supposed to moderate today, but since I'm filling in, I can whatever I want to do, right? So Sheena actually reached out to me. My God, how many years ago was it? On Meadow Glen.
Oh, I think I think it was my first year in the business. It was like
I
10
think it
years.
was your first year because you were
It was only
really
my second sell, which I think
okay.
only did 3 my first year, and one of them was my sister and one of them was me. So that's not
All
that
right,
good.
so Sheena knows what I look like without gray or white hair at this point.
Uh-huh.
So because we're going back into my mid-30s there. So Sheena called me. She wanted to buy a house for her and her husband, and at that point, Ezra wasn't even in the cards yet.
Mm.
And I was the listing agent, and I felt like she was so earnest and sincere and open-handed. Like sort of, look, I'm not going to try to tactically work around you or play any games. I don't really know how to go through the process, although I have a license and I understand, from a 101 standpoint, what I have to do. So I was like, look, my seller is very matter of fact. He actually was one of the developers of that subdivision, and he was in his 70s at the time, and ended up becoming a very good friend of mine. Passed away 2 years ago in April. And anyway, he was going to sell her finance. He would do anything. He was very creative. And that's how I got to know Sheena. She bought that house for her and her husband, and then they ended up selling it for a profit and moving on. But anyway, what do you say to that, Sheena, that I met as far as what would you do now? Like 10 years later, what's the advice if you could think of the first thing that pops in your head?
First of all, thank you for not taking advantage of me not knowing what I was doing and being on the opposing side. And if I had
as a dual agent there.
huh?
I was
What?
able to work as a dual agent in that case.
Yeah, I called him and I was like, yeah, I got my license and I want to buy my first house, and I literally don't know what I'm doing. Help me walk through this, because I was at a place that nobody wanted to help me unless I was giving them a lot of money or I was on their team, and which is interesting because when I joined eXp, it was like an open book. It was like Pandora's box opened, and all the same people at that same brokerage that wouldn't help me then are all, because of the platform change, are open books. And I was like, wow, it's amazing. So let me go back to your question though.
Sure.
I would have done exactly what you did. Anybody who calls me, I help them. I would never ever take advantage of anybody being honest. And I would have done exactly what you did. And now, I mean, I know what I'm doing now versus then I didn't know what I was doing. So
I mean, that's, it goes back into that abundance and scarcity mindset. I feel like YouTube and all these gurus, every time I hear of a guru, I just distrust them immediately. right? All these gurus are repeating the same amount of information. It's like the same 7 chords compose, the majority of the rock songs. You can play any Leonard Skinner song with 5 chords, right? Not putting down Leonard Skinner, love them, right? But the point is that you hear all these things like abundance mindset, scarcity mindset. One thing I know about you, Sheena, very well is that you are a giver and you don't really put a business plan to it. You sort of are going to give information, and then if life pays you back through the course of events, it pays you back. And that's actually been very fruitful for you, because I've been able to watch from the sidelines how that's happened and continues to happen. Is there any tactical advice you give yourself as a realtor going from not knowing how to make a living in this business to, I don't know what you're going to
Oh,
do, $25
okay.
million of business this year?
I see where you're going with this. Okay. So, I would say that you put out what you want to attract. You put out into the environment good, and good will come back to you. And you don't need to keep you don't need to keep a tally of, favors you've done for people. Just do the best you can for everybody, and it will come back to you somehow, some way. I will say in the beginning of my career, because so many agents around me didn't want to help me, I didn't understand the importance of having relationships with other agents. I kind of just became an island by myself, right? But in this next, eXp and on, which is the last 5 years of the 10 years, I have learned so much about agent relationship to relationship, and how important it is to help your fellow agents when you can. And I mean, later on, that could be a referral. That could be something you learn from them. You guys could basically power up and do so much together. You don't have to get money, or you don't have to get a favor in return for a favor in order that it will come back to you. So that would be my advice: is don't be on an island. Don't let previous brokerages make you feel afraid to do the right thing for your fellow agent, even if you get nothing in return in that moment. Because I'm telling you, it comes back to you somehow, some way.
Yeah, totally agreed. Totally agreed. All right, Julie, same question to you. What would you tell, after you got divorced and your dad told you to get the contractor license, and you were going down that whole route. What did you decide to when you decided to land on real estate as a real focal point, especially in 2019? I think you said you were selling 1 to 2 homes, probably what you were building. Like, at what point could you have pulled yourself aside and said, hey, listen, I can compress your pain and the growing curve if you do these things? Like, one thing I always think about as an adult, especially because time is fleeting and I'm not having a midlife crisis. I bought a Corvette like 3 years ago, but I sold it. So I got through that in maybe 6 months. But outside of that, one thing I try to do is I compress the learning curve. I want to make the pain of mistakes and of knowledge gathering as short as possible. I want to compress all of the paying your dues. I want everything to be, I don't want to bypass it. I want to experience it. I don't want a gift. I don't want to do anything like that. But I do want to make sure that we compress all of that into the shortest period of time, so I can spend the largest period of time in my flow state, working, helping, generating income, whatever that direction is. What would you do, Julie, if you could just say, listen, dummy, like, stop, put your notepad down. These 2 or 3 things will increase your knowledge base, increase your GCI, shorten the period of time.
Wow, that's where do I begin? I mean, again, I mentioned that I journaled, and when I came over here, I was journaling. I wanted to make $100,000, and I was reading enough books, and I was listening to enough things that I knew that if I wrote down to put it on paper, right, get it out of here and put it here, that things start to transpire. I would write how $100,000 would make me feel, what I was doing with that $100,000. At the end of that first year that I was with eXp, I made $150,000. I thought I was rich. I mean, holy crap. And so, I mean, it's like, put your mind and take your mindset. I think number one, you have to change your mindset. Like, why are you doing this? Right? I mean, people talk about your why. Seriously, fuck your why. Oops, I'm sorry. I mean, seriously, you
That's
have
okay.
to have
Kids are not on Facebook. Yeah, go ahead.
you have to have the passion within. Why? I mean, just have the drive to be better, to if not better yourself, better someone else. So I have transpired in the last 5 years to be a totally different person when I first came in. I mean, I was originally, I just wanted to I just wanted to be good at one thing, right? I wanted to be good at real estate. I wanted to focus on one thing because I was in a competition with myself. It was nobody else. It was myself. And I realized that in order to get to where I wanted to go, I had to help people. And I had to help people get to where they wanted to go, whatever that was. And and so being a giver is asking for nothing in return. Giving is being someone and asking nothing in return. You're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. And what I have learned in all of the rooms that I have gotten into, that it's changed me because I'm learning from other people. And so, get
Let
to
me
the
let,
you
let,
feel you
let,
don't
let me
belong.
let me add, Julie, and for you to continue to respond on this. Like, you're having a little bit of first mountain, second mountain conversation here, where the first mountain is that you have to get yourself safe financially and realize that you can be a provider and you can develop yourself. Second mountain conversation is sort of impact on how you can get back to the, what kind of person you're going to be, what's your legacy piece. What I'm asking though is, you're speaking second mountain climbing, which I understand very much and appreciate in you, and I know that's you're speaking that. How do you translate the language barrier between, it's not about short term, it's about long term, it's about impact, it's about transformation over transactional, to a person that is so reliant on the transactional happening now or they're out? I'm not asking that you have the answer to this. I'm kind of seeking it out myself
I,
sometimes.
I feel like if you commit in your mind and you say that you're going to do something, I feel like you do it. And so you seek out the people that can help you get to where you want to go. And so for me, it was being here and being in the rooms, like I said, that you feel you don't belong, the rooms that can help you learn. So like I started getting outside of my comfort zone, really. I wasn't doing something that I didn't want to do. I was actually just doing something that I really didn't know how to do. So for instance, I was trying to not be a secret agent anymore. So I would meet title reps. I would meet lenders, and I would have coffee with them. I think that's why I'm addicted to coffee right now, is because I have had so much coffee over the years. And I would get there and I would talk the language. I started getting confidence around speaking the language that of real estate. And once I got that confidence in my head that I was actually doing the work. I have to say here that I lived in, so for 16 years, I lived in a town here in Portland called Lake Oswego, and it's a bougie little town. It's kind of like the, I don't know, Manhattan of New York or the Scottsdale, Arizona, or whatever. So I lived there, and it wasn't until, so I bought that house in 1998 when my son was born. I got my license to sell real estate in 06. I ended up bulldozing that house in 2013. So for 7 years, I was a real estate agent living in that house. I did not feel worthy to sell real estate in my town. I felt like an imposter. I felt like I wasn't really good enough to sell in my own hometown. It wasn't until I bulldozed that house, built new, and never moved in, but built that as my investment. And by the way, built that with 0% interest credit cards. That's a whole nother story. And I built that house. And then in 2013, I had the top producing agents from all over coming through my house, Mary Jo Avery coming through. And I'm like, oh my God, we sold that house for $1.4 million. And I felt like, yeah, I can sell real estate in this town. and I am good enough. It's a mental confidence thing. But so I'm not sure if I'm really answering your question, Rich, but I feel like you have to first commit in your mind and in your heart and your soul that this is what you're going to do, and you're going to turn over every rock to get better, so you can have that confidence, and so you can, go out and help as many people as possible. Because I believe that every time I get a new client, and I'm a by referral agent, and so I just recently started buying Zillow leads because I wanted that challenge to convert a transaction into a relational business, but that's a whole nother story too, probably. But I really believe that if you study and like I am a student always, then you can provide more value to your clients. And I started doing video and getting out on the internet and Facebook, and that's when my phone started ringing, because I was doing videos on what's a VA loan, or what's the difference between a home inspection and an appraisal. And I was getting and doing things outside of my comfort zone, and getting more exposure out there. And that's how I started to grow.
So I want to explain to the audience, that's why we had two panelists today, is because there's a deep well in both of these conversations, and they're not your typical pathways to selling lots of real estate. So we want to spend a little bit more time kind of uncovering that. One of the things that I think that sucks in this business, and probably any small business owner, is the attempt or ability to control balance. I think balance is an overused word. I don't think you have any balance if you're running the bottom line on a business. What I think is you have harmony or lack of harmony. And you can tell when you have a lack of it. Your partner's distant from you, your kids are expecting you to be looking at your phone, your vacations are working. You know what it looks like, guys, right? We've all had those moments here. And you also have, at that same time, the real truth of it, which you could justify and make a case for, but doesn't really hold water long term, which is, if I don't take these calls, like, we got to make hay while the sun's out. Like, they'll go somewhere else, right? I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, my clients are so loyal. I'm like, no, they're not. They're repeat clients. Some of your clients are loyal. A lot of them are repeat clients, right? Loyalty is when they won't shop you even if there's a better situation. A repeat client is that you didn't mess anything up, you stayed in touch, and they're going to use you again. So how do you guys, Sheena, how do you try to manage harmony in your life when your professional life and your personal life are sometimes in juxtaposition? How do you take care of yourself in that kind of hectic storm? I'm sure that you're not doing a perfect job of it, because I haven't met anyone who is, but do you have any mechanisms or habits that you're utilizing to try to keep it all together to where nothing's sinking?
So I am currently and have been trying to work my business to where I'm off after 5 o'clock and have the weekends off. Of course, in real estate, we know that you got a client that needs to see an emergency house on Saturday. How do I make that happen? So I either can run out and show it real quick, or I have a team that's of 8 members on the team, and we all help each other in that particular situation. I also have a TC that helps me with my paperwork, and so that I can pay her so I can have time with my family instead of doing paperwork. So I would say just figuring out the items that you need to be in person for, and then figuring out the items that you can defer, and then multitasking as much as possible in I call it the work window, but that's like, for example, when my kids are in school, I'm doing everything that I have to do that I can't bring my kids to. And then after school, I'm doing things that I can bring if they're like, if I have to show a house and I have a client that's super cool with it, which thank God, a lot of my clients choose my entire family when they choose me, and I thank God for that every day. Like, I'll bring them along for one showing. But for the most part, I'm just trying to compartmentalize what can be done with kids, what can't be done with kids, and when my time is protected with my family, where I'm 100% on my family, giving away tasks such as paperwork and things that other people can do with a TC. So
Yeah,
I don't know if
delegating
that helps.
responsibilities.
Does
No,
that help?
it does.
Delegation. That was the word I was looking
Yeah.
for.
No, it's right. I was going to help you out with it if you didn't land on it at the end. Well, I mean, here's the thing: is your highest and best use of your time is
Mhm.
relationships and lead generation, and everything else is secondary because you can pay someone else much less than what you earn per hour. So we all get it, and amen to that. It's funny. I was just thinking to myself, my dad worked a lot of overtime. He was a real estate appraiser, and he had an '89 Firebird back when I was 12 years old. So that was a pretty cool car to have for a 12-year-old guy who's in cars, right? And anyway, the only way I was able to see him when overtime was heavy was I go with him to appraisals and I do the field work. And he would have me shoot photos. Back then, we didn't have digital photos, so you had to take a picture and then go get the film developed. But he wouldn't have to make a U-turn if I was in the passenger seat because I can just shoot the photo. And then he'd be like, "Rich, did that one have a fence? Did that one have a porch? Is there a pool in the back?" So it's so funny. But when you're working for small business owners, you get that entrepreneurial, contagious energy. And then I actually ended up becoming an appraiser. And then I realized, wow, I want to make more than 150,000 a year if I'm going to trade all this time away. So then I joined the dark side and sold real estate, but all basically influenced from being like Ezra is at your hip on a showing at on second shift or third shift, you know? So
Yeah,
anyway, I
no,
think that does answer.
multitasking, delegation, and giving away tasks that like I can pay a TC to do have been my secret sauce. And then actually I think efficiency has become better and better and better with time and age, getting more efficient with the same hour and finding the best use of value for that hour, like money back to my family, because that equals time with my family. And so in this second phase of development for myself, my goal is to actually sell less units at higher volume, and I'll help anybody, by the way. So I will help anybody, just putting that out there. But it allows me time back with my family and a life by design. And that's what I'm working for. And then it helps me to lift my team as well.
So just so you guys know, if anybody's watching this video and doesn't know Sheena, mom of two girls, wife, daughter, business owner, selling real estate, right? Like doing all of these things, selling 16 million, you'll probably do 25 million this year. I mean, it's hard work, but down to earth people are able to build a skill set and become ninjas at this. So anyway, that's awesome, Sheena. Julie, same question for you. Uh, if you need me to remind you of the question, I'm happy to do so. Okay.
Yeah, real quick. Remind me the question.
Well, okay, so there was a few things. First of
Cool.
all,
Tools or
just
something?
yeah, no, like harmony. How do you have balance, harmony in what you're doing? And are you in a chapter in your life where that doesn't matter so much? Because that's, for
Yeah,
me, if like my wife went away for 3 months, I'd be a workaholic. I'm really good
same.
at it. Yeah, okay.
When my husband, yeah, 100%. When
Got to come in the office to hang out, bring a sandwich. Yeah, okay.
yeah, exactly. Remind me to eat, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, oh my gosh. So I agree with you. Work-life balance. I mean, I do everything to an extreme. And that's just my personality. I have an addictive personality. So when I set my mind to something, I kind of go both feet into it. And so when I first started here at eXp, I actually, going from 1 or 2 transactions to 18, I was a hot mess. I'm not gonna lie. I ended up in the hospital with anxiety and really fast heartbeat. I had to hire a coach or a TC, and I realized I better hire a coach first. And they would tell me to hire a TC. So I do have a TC now. And I'm not gonna lie, through some of my years, and I've always had a coach now since I've been with eXp. I truly believe that if you want to be better, you got to have somebody that's gonna coach you to be
A
better.
great coach. You coach with Hank, right?
I coach with Hank now, right?
Yeah.
But when I first started, I coached with Jackie Bowman, who is amazing.
Jackie.
And so Jackie actually helped me get some systems in place. And I remember calling her, laying down on my family room floor, having anxiety because I was trying to do so many things at once, and I was really like, having anxiety over it. But
I got
so
it. I'm mute now. Go ahead.
Thanks. I So yeah, so I have a TC now, and of course I have a coach, and I also have a virtual assistant that helps me with my social media, because I was trying to do all of that too, and you know, I'm not the best on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all that, but I know that that's super important when you're trying to grow your business, and get out there in front of everybody. So I do have a virtual assistant that I utilize full time, and he's become family to me, and with his family and all of that. So I do have systems in place. I have certain things that I do when I get a new client, and you know, I think that's it's key as you go along. But when I first got here, I didn't have any of that, and I had to learn. And you know, in every room that you get in, you take a little bit of piece of what you know, what you learn, and you kind of make it your own. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, did I answer that your question?
Yeah, I think you answered in the sense that you're doing the task that you like doing, and you're doing it whenever you want to. And I think I think there's an audience for both conversations. That's why I like that you guys are in different places of where your time has to go, because you know, like there's certain things that I love that I can do obsessively,
Yeah,
right? And I don't want to stop, right? So like eating pizza, I can eat pizza every day.
it's my
Right?
favorite food,
But
pizza.
I couldn't eat another type of food every single day, nor
Yeah,
would I want to.
yeah. Well,
All right, so go ahead.
my kids are 25 and 27, both graduated college, in which I did not. I dropped out of college myself. And but you know, my kids have graduated college, and they both have corporate jobs full time. And my son is actually buying his first house next Monday. It's closing. And so I feel, you know, I have my husband who supports me in everything I do, which is, I mean, I couldn't do what I do without him, by the way. He's a huge supporter, and my biggest cheerleader. I have to show you this. When I got home today, this was on my desk. I mean, he's
Nice.
just phenomenal, right? And so I uh I mean, it takes a village, right? And you got to get around people that really support you. And I have an organization here, and even people that aren't in my organization that are like family to me, like you, Rich, and Hank, and Jackie in Ohio. I mean, y'all treat me like family, and that gives me the confidence to be able to do what I do. And my role in the last 5 years has changed. I've actually had to become a leader, which I didn't, when I came here, I didn't envision myself being a leader. I didn't look at myself as being a leader, but now I am a leader, and that takes responsibility, and I embrace it. Like, I'm going to knowledge up. I go to all the events. I go to faith-based conferences. I go to, you know, I go to a lot of different conferences to get the knowledge so I can bring it back to
Yeah.
everybody that wants to know.
You got to source yourself. It's the only way.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
so interesting because me and Julie are so different the more I listen to her. And she is very organized, prepared, writes notes. Her energy comes from, you know, she's not into the whole finding your why. I'm like organized chaos. I'm gonna make it happen on the fly. I didn't write a whole speech today because it didn't matter what I would put on a piece of paper. I was going to freak out and forget it all anyways, because I have fear of public speaking and talking in front of people. And then my why, what's made me be what my motivator is my girls. Like that's where I get my strength. But I think the whole point is you have to find out what makes you passionate about this job, whether you get it from a driving force outside of your body or within your body. You have to find that, or you're just going to be stagnant.
Yeah, well said. You know, and by the way, Sheena, you didn't come off nervous at all, and I would tell you right live in front of tons of people. I thought you showed up the way that I see you on smaller events. Yeah, no, so that's what I like about you two guys. You're so different. You know, one of the things that I have sort of narrowed down for myself was having a singular focus on improvement in whatever I'm gonna have to do to generate income started to become pretty intuitive. So I was selling real estate. Nobody else was offering me a job that was a better opportunity with no ceiling, for my skill set than that was. So I try to learn how to be the best real estate appraiser I could be. And I started as a residential appraiser so I could understand value. I knew I wasn't going to be an appraiser long term. I just knew that fundamentally I better understand that part first so I can move into investor conversations and then be strategic in my own life, tactically buying real estate and weaponizing for generational wealth building, the really roundness that you get from doing appraising and then moving into sales. Once I got into sales, I was like, this is great. If you could only get rid of realtors, I could do this forever. But realtors drove me crazy, which is so ironic because that's all I'm surrounded by. But they're realtors that I chose. So they're better, at least in my biased assessment. But one of the things I would have told myself, because I've been doing this for 26 years, I got into real estate at the turn of the century, right? And one of the things that I realized is that having a narrow focus and being obsessive and being sort of locked in on something, which is something you both have, like, you know, Julie's very much got that, you know, indomitable spirit, learn everything, uncover every rock, improve yourself, get into personal development. And I believe leadership is best by example, not by speaking from a podium. So I like your style of doing it. And then Sheena is also kind of like, I'm going to show my girls what it takes to be this sort of superwoman. And I'm going to do this stuff. And I'm going to show the agents on my team how you go from selling double wide trailers to selling $5.5 million properties. I'm going to show them the path. I'm going to be an open blueprint for them to design. I'm going to inspire and move them along. For me, it's been sort of like, if I get rid of all of the white noise, I can get very good at one thing. So I kind of took the bungee cord there, but there's so many different ways to sell, you know, like you both sell, you know, tens of millions of dollars of business this year, you're going to both sell very differently. And what I like about this is like, it's like sort of being in a hotel conference where Fortune 500 companies are all there and you have a VIP ticket. You can open up any door, sit down, take notes, get bored, go to the next door. I can go listen to Steve Jobs. I can go listen to Elon Musk. I can go listen to whoever, right? Jordan Peterson. That's where I'd probably spend a lot of my time. So anyway, listen, because we are working within windows, my schedule is to pick up my oldest son from school at 2:30 every day, come hell or high water. So I am out of here. So thank you so much for joining us. And I hope that people that are watching this video quietly and not putting a like on Facebook, because we don't measure that as currency for us, are able to get inspired by you guys and also able to reach you. You guys are both on Facebook and you know, you could just type in the name and go, right?
Hey, if anybody has any questions, I'm open book. You guys can ask me anything. I'm here to help any agent. You know, people taking 30 minutes to an hour with me help change my life, and I'm happy to do that for other people.
I second that.
Yeah.
100%. Open book.
All right. Awesome. Very good. Thank you so much. Sorry for dealing with an unprofessional moderator that didn't have a list in front of me either. And our last series, if you're watching this and you're not in our internal workplace system, is we're doing a fireside chat next week with Renee Funk, who does 300 million a year, and Elizabeth Riley, who is probably the most decorated production real estate agent at eXp's history. So we're going to get in deep on that one as well. So thank you so much. You know how to find these ladies, and have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sheena, you're a rock star.
You're a rock star.